14th meeting of the Camden County Board of Education. Ask if there is any consideration of open session agenda changes.
Yes, could you add the updated pay scale to the action agenda, please?
All right, that'll be item D under action agenda. Dr. Farrell will present the pay scale. Anyone else? Entertain a motion to accept the July 14th, 2022 meeting agenda as amended. Motion by Dr. Banks, seconded by Mr. Heath to accept the July 14th, 2022 meeting agenda as amended. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Dr. Farrell, has anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
I'd like to ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For our board spotlight tonight, we're going to recognize the 21-22 Camden track and field teams. And as I call the members' names, if you would come on up to the front for our presentation. And that is Cadence Langdon, Kennedy Lighty, Keely Williams, Melanie Cartwright, Emily Graham, Maggie Langdon, Emma Martindale, Twee Wynn, Kaya Sawyer, Hannah Freeman. I guess we got started. Brenna Gutierrez, Cadence Geyer, Ariana McClenny, Emma Martin, Maddie Hassenauer, Grace Phillips, Liliana Santiago, Peyton Stasco, Riley Luber, and Coach Victoria Black. So this year's track and field team faced many challenges. Not only did the team move to a larger athletic conference, but did so with only 3 upperclassmen. At the Northeast Coastal Conference Regional Track Team, the team brought home first place with a score of 150 points. The team got first in discus, 400-meter dash, 800-meter, 300 hurdles, 4x400 relay, and 4x800 relay. The team won the NCHSAA 2A East Region Track Meet with a score of 100 points, 30 points over second place Manio. The Bruins came in first in the 800-meter race, the 4x4 relay, and the 4x800 relay. The team placed 5th at the state track meet with a score of 32 points, 3 points behind third place. And 7 young ladies completed in the state track meet. Together, the team earned medals in 4 events. And the Bruins 4x800 team, led by senior Keely Williams, earned second place with a time of 10 minutes and 21 seconds. And senior Kennedy Lighty tied for first place in discus with a throw of 118 feet and 9 inches. The girls 4x400 team, led by senior Keely Williams, earned fourth place with a time of 4 minutes 17 seconds. Sophomore Twee Wynn placed 4th in the 400-meter dash. Freshman Peyton Stasco placed 8th in the 400-meter dash and seniors Keely Williams and Katie Langston finished 6th and 10th in the 800-meter run. And freshman Grace Phillips finished 6th in the 100-meter hurdles and 9th in the 300-meter hurdles. And senior Keely Williams, Katie Langston, and Kennedy Liney have led the time to 3 consecutive conference championships and competed at the state track meet 3 times. Congratulations and some very admirable accomplishments. We have board spotlight certificates for all of you that read the Camden County Board of Education presents this certificate for your outstanding contributions to the Camden County Public School System. And I'll see Ms. Black. There she is. Thank you. She's not here. Kennedy, not here. Keely. No one? She's not here. Let's start putting these over here. Emily Brown? Nope. Not here. Tweed. Sawyer. And Hannah Freeman. Brown. Thank you. And it's Skyler. There you go. Ariana. Right here. Emma Martin. Yep. You're so good at that. Maddie. Right here. Grace Phillips. Here we go. Thank you, Grace. Liliana. Santiago.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Riley? Not here. All right. So congratulations to all of y'all. Thank you for all your hard work and representation of Camden County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Open session to appear.
No one has requested to appear.
Consent agenda. Motion by Ms. Eilert to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Mr. Purcell.
I have a change.
You have a change.
Sorry. Consent agenda A, page 9545, the joint meeting minutes from June 1st. Second paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, line 7. The motion to go into closed session made by Ms. Eilert, seconded by Mr. Heath. It says all voted aye. I voted no on that motion, and it needs to match the closed session meeting minutes that are going to be approved later.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll second as a
Ms. Eilert has rescinded her motion and made a new motion to accept the consent agenda as amended by Mr. Purcell and has been seconded by Mr. Purcell. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. New high school project, MB Con et al. Maggie, you can start us off.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Farrell. Thank you so much for having us here tonight to give you a little update on where we are with the project and some steps that we need moving forward. Next slide. That's fine. You may see some new faces and some familiar faces in the audience. We brought a big team here tonight. Some familiar faces include Ashley Dennis with Mosley, Kim Hamby with Timmons, and Bill Cram, who is the project executive for MB Con. A couple of new faces include Bill Ramsey, who's the pre-construction director, my direct boss, and then Chris Bilbo, who is actually going to be the project director for this project. So when Bill and I kind of get through the pre-construction process and procurement, it will be turned over to Mr. Bilbo, and he will be your point of contact moving forward during the construction process. So hopefully you get a chance to meet him tonight. And with that, Mr. Cran's going to come up and give you a market update.
So Maggie sends me up here to give you all the great news as to what's going on in the construction market. I'm an eternal optimist, and I still believe prices are going to moderate, but I'm going to show you some data that's probably going to knock you to the floor a little bit here, but we feel you need to know what's going on. This is a report from earlier this year from a construction journal called Construction Dive. Input prices for construction rising 24.4% year over year, February 21 to 22. Input prices is the material side of things. It's not overall construction cost, but we're still seeing inflation. Associated General Contractors, largest contracting industry in the country. This is their chart through December 20 to 21. This is where I see a little bit of optimism. It was peaking at about 24% at that point, dropping down a little bit to 19. So we are seeing a little bit of moderation in pricing. But across the board, no matter what source I go to, they're still all seeing two things: construction prices rising and supply chain problems. I think I made this comment a year ago when I was here. The supply chain logistics was a catchy name for a course, I thought, 5 years ago, and it's a nightmare in the construction industry. The last thing that I think is pretty significant is what Construction Analytics had to say, is that deflation is not likely. Only twice in the past 50 years has construction costs gone down, and that was following the Great Recession in 2009 and 2010, when construction volume dropped 33% in 2 years. Bottom line, I've been at this for 49 years. We're still in a period of exceptional inflation and supply chain issues. We are seeing signs of mitigation, particularly on the supply chain side right now. The things that were way out, such as steel, have moderated. Steel pricing has come down some. We're still seeing inflation, but hopefully by the time this project goes out to bid, we will see some of this mitigation, moderation in pricing, as well as a lessening of the supply chain issues. Now that I've given you the bad news, let's let Ashley come up and give you some good news about the project.
I'm just doing a recap. So this is just a reminder, and I'm glad to be back in person. I'm sure you loved me on the screen, but it's nice to be back to see you guys in person. So I just wanted to run through the site plan, the floor plan, and our renderings. Obviously, when we get to questions, if you guys want to flip back to any of those, we can. But just a reminder of the site plan as laid out on the site, with the building up near the road, our playfields in the back, and our parking all adjacent to the building. Our floor plan, we have our, I don't think I can point with this, our main classroom wing, our admin near the front entry. We have our early college wing. We have our CT wing that has kind of a connector to the exterior with a covered area. We have our secured courtyard. And then we have our athletics and arts area as well, with the cafeteria and kitchen kind of facing out towards the ball fields and the main drop-off area. A reminder of where the design is right now in reference to the front entry, just a closer up view of that. This is the interior courtyard, so you can see how some of the spaces spill out there, and you can also see that connector between the CTE and science wing to the academic classroom wing. This is one of the CTE labs, our shop lab with all of its equipment in it. The media center with the Bruins lab to the right, and the bus drop off outside of that glazing to the left there. Our gymnasium space. This is coming in from the student drop-off and student lot, coming in through the Cafeteria Commons, heading down the main connector corridor to the front admin area. The extended learning area that occurs in all of our learning pods. So a large learning area with flexible furniture that all of the classrooms open out into. And you can see the roll-up door that connects to that canopy area that is between the CTE area and the academic pod. So when both of those are open, it can be fully connected. So that is just a pretty quick update of where we are design-wise. We've come a long way. We've made a lot of great decisions. As we move forward, the less decisions we can change, more of an adding would be a great way to kind of move forward as we go along. Obviously, we do have some flexibility within the way the building was designed, and are always excited to continue to strengthen the design as we move forward.
So thank you, Ashley. We've also heard that you all have gotten some exciting news with the governor passing the state budget. You received an additional $10 million in grant funds. So you went from about 12 million to 40 million to now 50 million, which is really a once in a lifetime opportunity. I hope you guys are excited. I hope the community is excited about that. I know there's some discussions going on about the site and the money and how that's going to work out. So for next steps moving forward, I think for us, we're at a point where we really need to know where you're going to put the project. And we've received a list of questions from Dr. Farrell between the two boards. We're working on putting together formal answers for you on those questions. And hopefully we'll be able to come back and have some discussions about that with you all moving forward. So with that, are there any questions for the whole team?
We've got some things within the county we need to work on site-wise, all the other. Can we get, not ground costs, not moving dirt, fill, all building costs for what you have already designed when we were originally going to do this thing a year and a half ago now, out on 343 North, where just the material and labor is estimated to be at now? Can we get that? I'm not expecting it to be exact bid, but just a rough idea of how much we've gone up, because I know Edenton and Chowan just had a 25% increase or more.
Somewhere in that range.
In the same
But they also
timeframe.
expanded their scope. There were two things going on there.
We're getting a lot of questions about that, and I would like to be able to say that just the original project as designed, without the dirt cost, because we know that's going to change based on sites, but for that building, here's where we were rough guessing, here's where we are now, rough guessing.
25% is probably pretty good guess right now on the building cost. I don't remember the baseline figure for the school right now.
With the questions that we're answering,
Yeah.
we can have that.
And we will have more detail when we come back. And the date of that meeting is
The 27th.
27th. But something in the 25% range, which is supported by the data. We tried to factor this into our estimates looking ahead, even a year and a half ago, we were factoring higher cost in. So we need to take a look at that, bringing back more accurate information at that meeting. That's the best I can give you right now.
We also included some market inflation when we prepared the budget for the grant as well. So some of that's already been factored in. I know that was a while back as well. So there has still been some change.
I don't have any further questions until you come back on the 27th with more responses.
Yes, and we will try to provide those in advance. I know Ashley and Kim and we have already been working on those questions. We have most of them completed. So we'll try to provide those as quickly as possible. So you have some time if you have any follow-up questions as well.
What are y'all looking at? I'm sure y'all building many schools all over the place right now. What is the lead time on steel? Is that your longest lead time item right now?
No,
It's not.
Oh,
What's the
it's
longest
changed.
lead time item?
longest lead time right now is two things.
Electric.
They're both electrically related, exactly. The main distribution panels and fire alarm panels. The issue with main distribution panels, we've run into this on multiple projects, is not the panel itself, it's the breakers. and the resin that goes into the breakers is the problem. On the fire alarm panels, it's, and you've heard this about vehicles and everything else, it's the computer chips. Matter of fact, I can give a real life example right here in Camden County. It's the new library administration building. That fire alarm panel was supposed to be delivered March, and it got installed this week. And it was related to the computer chips.
We're seeing the same thing. I work for a utility, and power transformers are over a year out for the ones that would serve like a school like this.
A friend of mine that works for one of our competitors used to work for us as a building at Elon University right now. They're running on a generator because Duke cannot get the necessary equipment there to get it on permanent power. So it's right in line with what you're talking about, Kevin. Other questions?
I don't see concrete on that list. I know I'm building a substation right now, and concrete is shooting up. Are y'all seeing that in the school, or not as much?
I'll turn to Maggie. or Bill.
In this area, I know just in the last 60 days, concrete went up about $25 a yard.
Yeah.
And part of that is the true mix, and then your tacking on the fuel piece on top of it.
Obviously, the rise in diesel fuel has impacted everything. Because everything comes to a construction site by truck.
I was just curious how y'all were seeing concrete too. So it is more like localized in our area?
Well, I just know in this area.
Concrete's kind of a regional cost.
Okay.
Because of the different plants being more local, as opposed to like a steel or a polymer base. So yeah, it can be affected in one area stronger than another.
So you're waiting on some decisions from us, or we're waiting on some answers from us?
Yes, and we're very excited to get going.
But I think you'll need the answers from us on the 27th
Yeah.
to make that decision.
Yeah.
But that decision is critical. Every day delay on choosing a site delays the project because Kim can't do any more. Ashley can't do any more. So
Yes.
we'll bring you those answers and hopefully give you some good guidance on helping to make that decision.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting the new members
Yes, thank you for
to
that.
our group.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night.
School safety and security update, Mike Lawrence.
How are y'all?
Good,
How are you? Good.
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So couple quick updates. The 100 and 200 for the schools, principals and assistant principals and data clerks, I believe is completed. Also the central office staff, I've been in talks with them for the most part. All of them is completed. We were looking at the 300, getting that done this summer, but with emergency management, we had to push that back because the class, the teacher or instructor got pushed back. So we're going to get that hopefully in September. Key control and check badges. We did an inventory on keys. We're running keys. We found some discrepancies with all of that. We're kind of working that out and moving forward with that. That was good that we did that. Radios, working with Buddy and the principals in the schools, what they have, what they need, what's broke. We're getting new radios in, replacing some of the stuff that's been around since 2017, getting that done. Cameras, there's new cameras being installed in here and in some other locations. Buddy and I, he's putting some higher definitions in. You have the capability, I believe it's 16 or 20 more cameras on the system here. Putting some cameras at the central office. We need some cameras there. But all that's going on. And Buddy and I think one or two Mikes is doing most of that work. Fencing, Buddy's getting a quote on some fencing. That was part of the security assessment, trying to secure up Grandy a little bit along the front of Grandy and then the backside of CIS. Along the playground in that area, right? Trimming of the trees, some of the trees here and some other buildings along behind early college, kind of blocking some lighting, obstructing some view. So we're going to getting that cleaned up a little bit. Been talking with Mike Reeves and Dr. Farrell a little bit about some different programs, maybe look at implementing next school year. A couple of different programs out there. We got a meeting on the 21st with the principals at 8 o'clock, kind of go walk through some of that stuff and whatever they feel like the best, and we have a discussion on, we'll move forward with that. One of them is something like Sandy Hook Promises, I believe is the name, that's the name of it, but another program similar, like alert type system. Training on 825 for the K through 7th in the morning, or K through 6th in the morning, 7th through 12th in the day. We're going to go through safety and security. Got a lesson plan. We're going to go through the policy procedure, do a tabletop discussion. August the 4th, going to be with the at the retreat to do a reunification tabletop discussion with your admin people, and just kind of walk through what does that look like. And then was talking with Miss Anderson, and now I was talking with the new chief there, Miss Davis, about HR employee exit procedures, right? Keys, badges, laptops, how do we secure that? Who does that? Like, what does that look like? Let's try to get that in place and move forward with that, so that if somebody leaves, retires, that kind of thing, whose responsibility is that, so nobody falls through the cracks and we end up missing something. Any questions? Everything good?
Good.
Okay. All right. Get out your way.
Thank you, Mike. Scholarships and senior intentions, Ms. Anna Lane.
I think you have in your board packet a summary statement with the breakdown of all the scholarships and senior intentions. So I'm going to go over just the highlights tonight in general terms. So from Camden County High School, with 103 graduates, 80% of those graduates are pursuing higher education. 56% of those students receive scholarships. Total scholarships awarded was $1,558,514. Total scholarships accepted was $1,043,074. For Camden Early College High School, you had 60% of the students, the 35 graduates, pursuing higher education. 7 students received scholarships, which is 16% of them. The total scholarship amount was $412,500. So both high schools together, if you look at the summary, 75% of our students are pursuing higher education. 5% of the students are pursuing military careers, and 20% of the students are going into, straight out of high school, into employment opportunities. Total scholarship for both high schools awarded and accepted, awarded was $1,971,000. Total scholarships accepted was $1,455,000. Of the 35 Camden Early College High School students, 21 graduated with a COA degree. Of the 103 Camden County High School graduates, 4 graduated with a COA degree. Any questions?
I think it's great information. Good news.
It is good news. I think that we're moving forward in a very positive direction.
If no questions, thank you. You would like to continue with the high school catastrophic insurance?
Okay, in the 2021 legislative session, North Carolina General Statute 5831A60 changed the process for procuring catastrophic athletic insurance for high school athletes. North Carolina High School Athletic Association can no longer provide that for the schools. So there are 2 significant changes to that. The Commissioner of Insurance has the duty to offer the catastrophic insurance coverage for the persons who are participating in the covered activities, and the premiums for the catastrophic insurance for covered activities has to be paid by each participating school in accordance with the rates fixed by the commissioner. And the commissioner then purchases from insurers admitted to do business in North Carolina the insurance as it is necessary. Ms. Norfleet has been in touch with the North Carolina Department of Insurance, and we have arranged to obtain our insurance through them. The coverage will cost $2 per participant. We have 230 athletes and coaches, so the cost will be $460 for the year beginning August 1st, running through July of 2023. The company that provides our voluntary student accident insurance, K&K, offered the same coverage at a minimum cost of $500 per school. As we have student participants in both the traditional high school and the early college high school, we would have to pay $1,000 for that coverage. So we decided to obtain the coverage from the North Carolina Department of Insurance because that seemed to be a more reasonable way to go. Questions? So we're just waiting on the invoice and we'll be getting that straight and they'll be ready to go in August. Thank you.
Thank you. Action agenda, child nutrition, food and supply bids, Mr. Larry Lawrence.
Good evening. I believe in your package, you've got a copy of the bid information where we bid it out this year. 13 counties are involved. We do this about every 5 years. We've had out of 6 different vendors, 3 price increases and 3 stayed the same. So overall, I guess we did okay. I would like to ask that we approve it for going forward. Any questions?
There are no questions. My recommendation is that you approve the child nutrition, food, and supply bids as requested by Mr. Lawrence.
Motion by Ms. Eilert to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the child nutrition, food and supply bids as presented by Mr. Lawrence. Seconded by Mr. Purcell. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you.
Policy 3200, selection of instructional materials, Carol Overton.
Bringing considerations of change for policy 3200. In policy 3200, section B, item 2, change the verbiage in the first sentence by removing the word school media and technology advisory. In the second sentence, we'd like to remove if on staff in the school and add district technology facilitator. We've discussed that the Media and Technology Advisory Committee will become a district committee. In item 3 of the same policy, changing the verbiage, removing the sentence and replacing it with the sentence, classroom libraries and supplemental material brought in by instructional staff should follow the same process and criteria as outlined in this policy. That's all on policy 3200.
Any questions on policy 3200 at this point? So I need a motion. There's no question. Motion,
I'm just asking if you want a recommendation.
motion by Dr. Banks that we table policy 3200, selection of instructional materials for review until a subsequent regular school board meeting. Seconded by Ms. Adlet. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Policy 3210, parental inspection of and objection of instructional materials.
In policy 3210, section B, parental objection, changing of the verbiage by removing the words in writing and replacing it with parents may submit an objection by completing and submitting the designated form to the principal regarding the use of the particular instructional materials. And that would be the only change in that policy.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to table policy 3210, parental inspection of and objection of instructional materials for further review until a subsequent school board meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Farrell, let's talk about pay scale changes.
Do you need to say anything in open session about it, Sally, or am I just recommending from close? Maybe some basic information for those who are present.
And you thought you were done presenting.
This Monday, the governor signed the budget. So for non-certified staff, what I'm proposing is a new salary schedule. And the reason is they are supposed to get a 4% raise or a minimum of $15 an hour. So some, of course, will get more than 4%. Our current schedule is actually a 40-year schedule. So that's going to cause a lot of compression between somebody that's new starting at a 0 and somebody that's been here for 20, even 24 years. So I'm suggesting that we switch to a 30-step scale to eliminate that compression between, because it happened a little bit last year when we went to $13, and then this year it's like more than doubled when we've gone to 15. So I'm recommending or asking that we go to a 30-year scale to avoid the compression of those employees.
And my recommendation is that you approve the request to move our pay scale from a 40-year to a 30-year to avoid compression with the new minimum of $15 per hour or 4%.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Heath to approve the superintendent's recommendation to change our classified pay scale
Yes.
from a 40-step to a 30-step pay scale as presented by Ms. Norfleet. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent's recommendation from closed session, employment of personnel.
My recommendation is that you approve the employment of personnel as presented by Ms. Davis in closed session.
Motion by Ms. Abbott to accept the superintendent's recommendation for employment of personnel as presented by Ms. Davis in closed session. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Announcements, administrative retreat. Superintendent Farrell will conduct an administrative retreat on August 3rd and 4th. And North Carolina School Board Association Annual Conference will be held Monday, November 14th through Wednesday, November 16th, in Greensboro. And
Do you want to do that?
And Dr. Farrell would like to make some announcements of changes and new personnel.
Yeah, I just want to publicly welcome some new faces and some familiar faces. First, I'd like to welcome Mr. Juan Castillo, who is our new principal at Camden Early College High School. He has hit the ground running, so welcome. I'd also like to welcome a familiar face to a different place in our district. Ms. Amber Davis is now our Chief Human Resources Officer, and she has also hit the ground running. I think they're all drinking from a fire hose right now. So Mr. Tim Lazar is our new principal at Camden County High School. And Ms. Kirsten Schiffbauer is in our interim principal position at Grandy Primary Schools. So thank you to all of you for your hard work already in your new roles. And we certainly appreciate the work you're doing for students.
Thank you. Welcome. All right. Is there any other business or future agenda items any board member would like to add?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask the board attorney to review policy 3620, extracurricular activity in student organizations for currentness, accuracy, and to make sure we're in line with PPI and NCHSA guidance.
Attorney answered. Attorney answered.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if it's. Yeah. He's asking about reannouncing the joint meeting since it's confirmed.
Yes, I can do that. And one other announcement, we will have a joint meeting with the Camden County Board of Commissioners on July 27th, 6 p.m. I think is the established time.
Yes.
In the conference room of the new administrative complex. Anyone else?
Motion to recess, open, and return to close.
Motion by Mr. Purcell that we recess open session to return to closed session. Seconded by Dr. Banks. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We're back in open session. We'll have a short recess for everyone to vacate the room. Thank you for coming, and we do not plan to have any action coming back into open session to adjourn.